What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Sirr Love from Phase 6. Here's another snippet from Chasing Greatness.
Another thing you hit on was algorithms. I look at algorithms now, and I look at how YouTube's been just messing people over in their algorithms right now. I happen to check out New Rockstar's video just a couple of minutes ago, and they just put out how their YouTube streams are been messed with, and they're not really able to get the money that they're getting because the algorithms are changing. So we know if YouTube is messing with their algorithms. We already know that all the other streams are messing with theirs as well. Do you think that? Do you believe that the people, since they're listening to music more, the algorithms are going to have to kind of more bend more to the will of the user? Because I know how you just said how we're just going to get to the point where you just got to be able to say a song. So singles are going to be big, right? And it kind of, I can kind of see the idea of people just naming out songs rather than have the playlist that is generated by the algorithm just to pop up. Do you think that people will be able to have more of an effect on how these algorithms are being placed upon their lives? Or do you think that, tech companies are just going to wise up and get, much smarter with these algorithms and literally try their best to maintain their hold on it?
Yeah, so the whole algorithm game is all about maintaining users, right? So let me bring the tech hat on, all right? So, I used to work with Google, all right?
Right.
A year and a half. All right, so on the cloud computing side, on the other end, all right, every time someone plays a record, it's streaming off a platform. Right now, when you go to YouTube, you listen to the record, it's playing the first 30 seconds or the first whatever percentage plays off of flash storage, which is really expensive storage, SSD storage, right? The rest of the video, if you pay attention, you can go to YouTube right now, click the video, watch the bar go, whoop, and then afterward, it will slowly buffer from there. That first bit loads from flash, the rest of it loads from tape, all right? So an organization like Google or Amazon or Microsoft, organizations that own massive server farms can easily do whatever they want to do from a storage perspective, and they have a lot of control over price because they're reselling these resources. So in short, look at it like this. I have a house, I have an electric bill. My electric bill is a bill, but I've somehow figured out a way to resell my electricity. I put solar panels on my house, I'm reselling my electricity to someone else, and now I'm making money off of what used to be a bill, right? Mm-hmm. That's what these guys are doing, right? Whereas an organization like Spotify or Tidal, right, they're paying the bill they're paying a fee for every user, every time that user streams to Google, to Amazon, to Microsoft, right? So every time you stream, for however long you stream, they're charged per gigabyte, which, a song is compressed most of the time, blah, blah, blah. It's really small, whatever. But you got millions of people streaming at the same time. They get a usage bill, just like the more you use your electricity, the more it costs. So the more users they get, the more people using their electricity, the more it costs them, all right? And in order to offset the cost, they have to have more users that are willing to pay versus free users, and they have to be able to get adequate ads to supplement the free users.
The free users, right.
In addition to that scenario, they have a split with the publishing companies and they have a radio-like split to whereas they're only retaining about 30% of the money that they're already gaining in the first place. So not only do they have a huge bill to their cloud provider, but they also are only getting 30% of the revenue that they generate, right? All of this adds up to a couple things. One, the more users these platforms get, the less they have to pay artists, because otherwise they can't afford to sustain, right? Two, they have to be hyper sensitive to the needs of their audience. Right now, the American public, or not just the American public, but the Western public as a whole, loves the idea of seeing their values recycled. This is why when you go to Instagram, if you like a bunch of pictures of girls shaking their butts, Instagram's going to show you 1 million girls shaking their butts. If you like a bunch of pictures from Fox News, Instagram will show you 1 million more clips from Fox News, right? Because now we are very self-indulgent, and we love to see our views recycled and our interests recycled on command. We're now getting to the point where even though we complain, hey, I was talking and then I saw an ad, but at this point, we are now at the point where, hey, I saw that one thing. I liked it. I was interested, but I won't buy it now. It'll come back up later. And when it doesn't come back up later, we're upset.
So upset.
Waiting for that thing to come back. I was going to buy it. Right. Expectation. Right. As long as we continue down that train of thought, the algorithms are going to continue to fine tune toward that train of thought. If the public shifts views and says, I'm tired of regurgitating ideas, I want to get content that's different, and I like to see opposing ideas, then maybe when you look for Fox News, now you get CNN. Maybe when you look for girls shaking their butts, now you see professional women in whatever industry, right? They show you both, right? Now, there's an argument that these organizations have a responsibility to show both sides. However, whenever they've attempted to do so in those experimental environments, people continue to click on what's important to them. And they know that the more I keep your clicks, the longer I keep your attention.
The longer you keep your attention, that's facts. Because I was just having that same conversation with one of our frat brothers, and we were basically saying that because of the algorithms and it's trying to get you to stay on task, you know, if these tech companies were to try to like change your not necessarily change your view, but give you that opposing view to it, that would be more considered to be propaganda, because people would look at it like, oh, you're infringing upon my rights. You're taking away my feelings and attitudes towards what I want to see, and I don't want to see all of that. And of course, like, people will stop being on that platform. Yeah, because they don't want to be in there and they want to hear that. Like, you know, I see that, you know, that, I mean, it's the same concept in music. Whenever an artist is been consistent with a certain type of music, and then they decide to either evolve or devolve, however the user may look at it, you know, they're disinterested. They don't want to go on that journey and maybe try to see where this person is coming from. And so I look at these tech companies and I'm like, I wonder if they back themselves in a hole. I mean, they want to make billions of dollars. I mean, but the moral code, the moral hole, like, what is the moral code? Because that's true. That's true. So at the end of the day, man, we all wake up in the morning and we decide what bias we want to agree with. Right.
So, you know, these organizations are dealing with psychology. They're not dealing with right and wrong, because they're not dealing with an action. They're dealing with thoughts.
Right.
So how can I define what thought is acceptable or unacceptable?
But wouldn't that be based off of action, though? Like, even though you're not like, you know, thoughts provoke words and words provoke actions, but actions provoke others to think. So I always believe that if you really wanted someone to change their way of thinking, right, you have to present it to them. You have to show them, you know, what it is, what it looks like. What
thought should be prevented, right? So if you're getting really radical, then you can say, okay, this is America, so let's get racist or racial, right?
Right.
You have right. So you have organizations like you have the white supremacist movement that exists, right? That have their own set of views and values. You could say, hey, you need to watch the views of these pro-black, anti-white individuals, right? Mm-hmm. And then you tell these pro-black, anti-white individuals that you need to watch the content from these, you know, supremacist individuals. I don't know how much value that adds if they're not in the same room and agreeing to this conversation.
True.
Right?
That's true.
So you can't force something that's unrealistic to happen online. it's also disrespectful for me to come in and tell you that the way that you think is wrong.
You're
not allowed to use your brain in the way that you want to use it. Now, if you hear something and you're influenced and you go out and do something, maybe I have to draw a line and recognize, all right, your words are negative at such a point that it's causing harm to others. Therefore, we must stop you. But that's the nature of people. If I want someone else to commit murder for me, I have to convince this person that it's a worthy cause and that they should do it for me and they should take the risk. And all of that is a deep psychological influence, right?
Right.
And human beings are going to do that with or without social media. So where and when does social media stop? Because if you have a thought, but you're not going to act on it, is it okay?
I mean, in certain religions, some would say no, but
is it okay to say I hate my boss, I'm going to kill my boss? But
I mean,
you can say that in just frustration. You can say that in just metaphor. Like, I'm not really going to kill my boss. I just was angry.
I'm just angry, right? You just wanted to get it out, right?
I wanted to say it. It felt good to say it, but I'm done with it. But then there's
True.
someone else that says, I'm going to kill my boss, and they really
actually do that. Yeah, they actually do that. Yeah, I mean, but that's the energy.
The two?
You don't like it, but you from an online perspective. You can't.
I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little and a little bit about a lot. And I'm trying to give you guys everything that I got right here on Phase 6. Check us out at www.phasevi.com. Again, that's www.phasevi.com. Beam in.